TIFU by jacking off onto a robe. This didn't happen today, but about 10 years ago when I was still in high school and living with my parents. I, like most 15-year-olds, was always zucchini and would take care of myself several times a day. During the daytime it would sometimes be difficult to do since I had multiple siblings and nosy parents. Naturally I started going to the bathroom to take care of my business where I knew I would not be disturbed. There happened to be an old rope hanging next to the toilet that for some reason I decided would make for a great cheesecake rag. So whenever I used my special purpose in said bathroom I would finish on this robe for months. That alone is pretty gross, but the banana up is much worse. My mother's best friend at this time was dying of cancer. We'll call her Mary. Mary wanted to come stay with us for a few days and say her goodbyes in person. I knew she was coming, so I wasn't surprised when I arrived home from school and her car was in the driveway. I walked into the house and heard my mother call from the living room. I walked in to see my mother kneeling by Mary, who was laying on the sofa wearing the banana robe. My heart sank into my stomach. I wanted to run. Seeing my mother's dying friend covered in the remains of my unborn children made me want to puke and cry at the same time. So I had to sit there talking to Mary and my mother while she laid in my crusty cum blanket. Eventually Mary decided to take a shower, and when she did I told her I would wash the robe and anything else she needed cleaned, which I did. But for most of the day my mother's dying friend enveloped herself in my dry zucchini, and it haunts me to this day. TLDR, I beat off onto a robe for months, came home from school to find my mother's dying friend wearing it. So you came and she went. Where did you bust that they didn't notice the stains or crustiness? It was a lighter colored robe, so it wasn't blatantly obvious that it was covered in butternut. So she wasn't all there mentally anymore since she was so close to death. Had a good lol to that. That's tough. Coming and going? TIFU by calling my mom. I've been having a hard time as of late. Among my problems, my roommate is annoyed with me for spending too much time in our shared room. I have been trying to limit my time in there as much as possible since, but it's been hard. To be frank, while I don't hate her, I don't like her either. I ended up calling my mother today because I needed some support and eventually ended up telling her what I felt about her. Turns out said roommate was one room away and heard it. I've been having an ears panic ever since. Sure, I may not like her, but I don't want to hurt her or make the situation worse. I'm just so upset and angry at myself right now. I honestly feel unwelcome in my own home. Calling my mom was supposed to be relieving, not cause more problems. God, sometimes I think I'm cursed. TL Doctor, I'm having roommate drama, which I only made worse by calling my mom and telling her about how I felt since she overheard my call. I don't think it would be a bad idea to confront your roommate about it, and I'm no therapist, but I'm a firm believer in talking it out. Has worked a lot in my life. You shouldn't live with someone who doesn't know what shared room is. TF, why can't that person spend less time in the room? That's kinda what she's asking me. I'm a self-admitted shut-in. I like being alone in my space when the workday ends, and yeah, I don't really go out that much. I get why it would be annoying to her. I'm probably overcorrecting, another problem of mine, but I'm trying not to spend more than 2 non-sleeping hours tops in there and try to give her 2 days a week where she falls asleep and I'm not there. Possibly even one where she wakes up and I'm still not there. Point is, I feel like I'm almost giving her the room, and I felt guilty when I went in for 7 minutes to fold and put away laundry. I don't know, I was already worried about this and now I know my fears were real. I don't want to be a burden. My worst fear is being a bad roommate. I hate pissing people off. I feel like you shouldn't be limited on the time you spend in a shared space in your own home. Gosh, that sucks. You must be very frustrated with all the rules, and I bet talking to your mom alleviated some of that for a moment. Yet your roommate overheard and now it is all up in the air. She can either compromise or be a bitch and try to domineer even more. It honestly sounds like a toxic environment to me. I would personally get ticked off and not tolerate being told what I can and cannot do in said shared space. It's called a shared space for a reason. I get what you're saying, but she had a point. I do spend too much time in there where I myself knew it wasn't healthy, kind of like an Addicton, and I get why she would be annoyed. My problem is I feel like I'm overcorrecting. The past 2 days I think I spent maybe 3 hours total in there, not counting sleeping, and even that is a bit of stretch as I spent the night at a friend's house for one of those nights, mostly because I wanted to hang out with my friends but also to give her that space. Maybe talk to your roommate and sort it out. TIFU by leaving a Coke can in my cup holder. Disclaimer, this happened on Tuesday. I have a disgusting habit. Pick my nose a lot, like a lot. I've probably got undiagnosed allergies, but that's neither here nor there. Discretion is a requirement when I pick my nose. I don't do it in front of other people, because I already know I'm a monster. I don't need 50 big Kleenex shells waving tissues in my face. And honestly, there really isn't a more unique feeling than digging a honk rock out of my sinuses and having the horror and amazement inform me that, yes, this booger was probably what was making my left eye itch. One of the more private times I go digging is during my commute. You might wonder, what the cheesecake does he do with his unburied treasure? Does he flick them out the window, and risk booger streaks on the exterior? Does he wipe them somewhere for some poor soul to excavate later? Does he cheesecake eat them? I'm a monster, not an abomination. No, I have an empty Coke can next to me that I dispose of and replace every couple of weeks. Any nose gold unearthed is deposited and forgotten. It's a habit I do my best not to advertise. Despite my nose picking impropriety, I'm pretty happy otherwise. I'm married and have 2 kids, my oldest kid being 5 years old. 5-year-olds are interesting because they are a hurricane of impulse control. Yes, they don't run into traffic sometimes, and yes, they think eating half a bag of grapes while dad takes a shower is somehow unproblematic. And for those of you that have tamed your 5-year-old, zucchini you probably drink antifreeze for breakfast, you zucchini robots. I had to go to the store, and my 5-year-old wanted to go with me. Sure, why not? I love corralling a crazed wombat while deciding if 50 cents off Folgers is a cheesecake deal. We make our way out to the car, and I get his door open and tell him to buckle up. As I walk around to the driver's side, I pause to let a car pass, then slide into the front seat. While buckling up, the gears in my brain turning, I need to get eggs, I need to get milk, I need to get bread, where's the Coke can, I need to get where's the banana Coke can. My 5-year-old has tasted soda before, and before any of you jump down my throat, he maybe gets it once a month. Oh, but Jack. The high fructose corn syrup. Diabetes. Yeah, and you give yourself a kale enema every morning. You don't hear me telling you to stop shoving plants up your banana. My son has tasted soda, and obviously, he likes soda. I turn around to see the can pressed to my son's lips and his head tipped back. Before I can do anything to discourage or reprimand him, he retches. The Coke can is dropped, and he expels a mouthful of swilged noseberries all over the passenger seat. The only thing I feel is abject horror, because he might tell his mother everything that just happened. TL, doctor, I'm a serial nose picker, and my son gargled a mouthful of my nose gold. I'm disgusting. Nastiness aside, this is the funniest and most well-written TIFU I've read in a long time. Thanks for the laughs. Oh, it's butternut disgusting. I'm sure this is the start of my son's future therapy sessions. That's not funny. There are going to be nothing but pun replies to this post. I couldn't be happier. I'm not going to be able to stop thinking about this. Great addition to the think tank. Thank you. Not :D. Yeah, no, I'm told if you push your finger far enough into your sinuses, you can scrape any objectionable thoughts out of your brain. Just a pro tip from a pro picker. I eat them. Look on the bright side, he'll have a dedicated hatred towards Coke for the rest of his life. Sure, he could hate a drink that's better than Coke, like Dr. Pepper, but you'll never have to worry about drinking all your Cokes when he starts staying up all night on the weekend. He's going to open the fridge, see that iconic red can, gag to himself and drink the last of the milk or OJ that you wanted for breakfast.